Welcome into Good Morning KU. I'm Griffin Hughes. Later on, we'll have Nick Cousin joining us. We've got all that happened this weekend in KU sports, from volleyball, cross country, tennis. We've even got some soccer in there, talking about football, and of course, Shane Jackson from the UDK is going to be on a little later to talk about basketball. Late night coming up. I'm sure everybody knows that. So keep it right here. Good Morning KU. Welcome back in Good Morning KU. I'm still Griffin Hughes. This is Nick Cousin, and man, it's been a long weekend.
Oh man, yeah. You were in Iowa calling soccer, and I was in Chicago, home for some family reasons. But we're here. It's a good day to be alive, as you would say. It's a good day
to be alive. It's a good day.
We're here standing.
Good day to be on Good Morning KU. So. You know what? It's a good day to be a KU volleyball fan. It's a really good day to be that. Still undefeated, 15-0. They absolutely destroyed.
Manhandled the Mountaineers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Talk about that game. Why was it so bad?
They just, every category they outwon. They won the last set by double digits, actually, which is the first time they did that this year. They had a .597 hitting percentage, and Havili, being who she is.
Havili is, as we would say, the LeBron James of college volleyball.
She improved her assists per set in the nation by 12.6, which is crazy, because she was at 11. She was at 11.8 before this game.
That's ridiculous.
And they continued their kills as well. Dockery had double digit kills, so did Rigdon. So just domination.
You're talking about a team that's just absolutely powerful. Okay, let's move on to soccer, and I will talk about that because soccer finally getting a big win. Their first Big 12 win of the season, second Big 12 game. It was against Iowa State, and you see the box score there. 2 in the first half, 2 in the second half. 4-0 was the final score. And the story of the game was Grace Hagan and Liana Salazar both netting their 4th goals of the season. So they're tied for the lead on the team. And they came in 2 very different ways. So Grace Hagan, she had a volley that she followed up on. It was a shot that went across the face of the goal, and Grace Hagan was there to follow up. Liana Salazar, 25-yard free kick, Messi-esque. It really was. It came over the wall. It came over the wall, and it came into the side netting of Iowa State's goal. And there was nothing that Iowa State goalie could do about it. One of the best goalkeepers, actually, in the Big 12. The second best behind Abby Smith, really.
Yeah. Who you saw on Friday?
Abby Smith was something else. I've never seen a goalkeeper that aggressive as Abby Smith was. She would take free kicks in front of Texas's half. Wow. I've never seen that before. But she was she was lucky that Salazar didn't get it, because Salazar can hit it that far. She can unleash one, and so she was pretty lucky. But soccer now 1-1 in the Big 12, heading into a couple big home games this weekend, Baylor, Oklahoma. So be there, check them out, because they're big Big 12 games.
So,
if you like hearing my voice,
you might want to go if you like Griff's voice.
If you like hearing my voice, you can do that. All right, football. Decidedly less successful against Iowa State.
Really, the only team that's not doing very well.
It's actually true, and we'll talk even about some of the obscure teams. We'll talk cross country and tennis, how well they're doing. But football, they've found struggles here. They've really found their struggles.
They went 14.5 point underdogs, and we'll see the rest of the odds to win here for the rest of the season. The closest one here is Texas Tech, and they almost beat TCU, and I don't think there's really a chance there either, despite ESPN saying so.
Well, those arrows, wow, that took me a while. Okay. Those arrows over there signify whether the percentages went up or down after last week, and as you can see, they pretty much went down, except for Texas Tech went up, but that's because Texas Tech lost this week to Baylor. We'll have highlights of that in a little bit, I hope. If we get there, if we make it through, then we'll have highlights of that. But they give Kansas less than 1% chance to beat Baylor. Is that an accurate assessment?
Correct. I mean, if Baylor leaves their starters in there, it could be 100 points.
Unfortunately, is correct. Baylor,
and even if the backups came in, I still think it's like 80.
Baylor could score just about as many points as they want to. So however many points they want to score, that's what Baylor's going to score, unfortunately. So it is what it is. I mean, football maybe.
Cozart's most likely going to be out. most likely.
That's what we hear.
That's what we're hearing.
After sustaining an injury against Iowa State.
And then Ryan Willis will most likely start. It'll either be him or DeAndre Ford.
We'll see. We'll see
what happens there.
Let's move on to tennis. Tennis had another successful weekend, and this time it was Smith Hinton and Anastasia Rychagova that dominated the Purdue Invitational.
You hit that name perfectly.
You watch a lot of tennis. There's a lot of Russian girls, a lot of Eastern European girls with those kinds of names, so you just kind of learn.
And so we'll talk about them. Hinton was put in the boiler-up draw, and Rychagova was in the black draw. And in singles, actually keeping in mind that they're both singles players, they both won their draws, which is very impressive. And in doubles, as we see here on the graphic, they got third place. So for the first time as doubles partners, they got second place, and they defeated Klaus and Miller of Notre Dame.
Smith Hinton's a sophomore, Rychagova a freshman, so two relatively inexperienced players, but that's something you can look out for on Kansan.com. It would be us talking about who might be the most valuable player for tennis this year.
Yeah, check out Data Debate. Make sure you vote for Rychagova.
Don't vote for Rychagova. Vote for Smith Hinton.
Okay.
Well, vote for whoever you think. Whoever you think is the most valuable, vote for that. Let's move on to cross country. Do that. Cross country. Rimrock Classic this weekend, a tournament with a lot of history, a tournament that Rice usually owns KU in, at least in these last 5 years or so. But this time around,
they came ready to play.
They came ready to play, and Kansas on the men's draw finished with the top two, Evan Landis and Jacob Morgan. I mean, who else could you really expect to finish up there?
Evan Landis, his first time in a year that he ran a race. And
he was injured all last year.
He was injured all last year, and then Jacob Morgan he won the race last year, and he came in second this year.
So big day for the men.
Yeah, Iowa State ended up winning this because they had, obviously, you see more Iowa State guys than Kansas there. So Iowa State won the overall team.
That's what happens. But the women, a little bit more successful because the women did win their team draw, and they also won the individual.
6 of them 10 were Kansas runners. So there you go.
Big day for the Kansas women. And you just see how competitive it is for the Kansas women up top, because the Kansas women's runner who won the individual at the
Sharon Lokedi.
Yes, she isn't even on there.
Yeah,
who won their last meet?
Oh, last year.
Who won their last meet? Right. So very competitive.
Tells you how deep they're running.
Very deep. The women are going to be good this year. All right, let's finish up with softball. Softball, it's not the regular season, it's just fall ball, but still a huge weekend for them.
Very, very impressive. Pitching was great. Sophia Templin had 4 innings pitched with no runs given up, and then the freshman pitching, Alexis Reed, she was very impressive on Thursday.
She was very impressive.
We were both there, and then she came in again.
She throws hard.
And she also had scoreless innings of 4 runs. So, very, very impressive pitching. And then we saw Daniela Chavez continue her beastly ways. She hit a grand slam against Washburn and ended up winning 8-0.
Yep, and obviously Shaylee Brickey, of course, on pace to be all Big 12, potentially All-American, one of the best defensive shortstops in the country, no question about it. And replacing Alicia Pilley is so difficult, but Alexis Reed, her fastball, the action she gets on it, how she establishes the inside part of the plate, definitely in good hands now that Pilley's gone. I'm not worried either. That'll do it for us for this first segment. Come back. We've got Shane Jackson. He'll break down late night men's basketball finally starting the season. We'll ask him about boot camp and also what to expect from men's basketball this early in the season. Stick around. Good morning, KU.
Where you go to college makes a statement about you. This place will become a part of you, your identity for life. The University of Kansas, a great place to be you.
I am here with Shane Jackson, Kansan beat writer for men's basketball and football. So really just mentioned men's basketball, but I do want your opinion real quickly because the line on Kansas Baylor right now is over 40 points. How big do you think it's going to be, that game?
I think 40 points is right around where it's supposed to be. I don't think it's going to be, 40 points is a lot, but it's not going to be worse than that because when you start getting that high up there, Baylor's going to put their second team in. And I think surely Kansas is good enough to stop the second team.
I would hope, or at least score on a Baylor defense
absolutely.
That's been dodgy at some points this year. So we'll just have to wait till Saturday for that. But something you won't have to wait till Saturday for, only Friday, would be late night at the Fog. It's finally back for all you basketball fans. So talk a little bit about boot camp for the men's team. How much do they feel they've improved coming out of that?
Well, yeah, they definitely feel like they improved. I think they feel like they've been more improved because of the World University Games. I talked to, especially the freshmen, I talked to LeGerald Vick and Carlton Bragg, and they really enjoyed the summer games because they got, that added bonus, playing in the summer, working out with chemistry with their team, something you don't see a lot with freshmen. Obviously, boot camp was going to happen regardless whether or not, you get that week or two there with your team, and it helped out a lot, but I think the summer was what helped out even more. I mean, this team was able to gel over a month rather than just that week or two.
Right, that's a good point, is that they have that game experience, which most teams really don't get in the summer going forward. How excited are those freshmen for late night?
Oh, they're definitely excited. That was what I was focusing on when I was talking to them. And it's funny how you look at it, the freshmen who are really excited to play in late night. I mean, Carlton Bragg, who was here last year as a recruit and said that late night was the reason why he came. And LeGerald Vick is very excited. He said he's never played in a crowd like this before, only once in a state championship in his senior year. And so he's really excited. And then you go and look at the older guys. I mean, I went and talked to Jamari Traylor, Atlanta Lucas, and they're just like, yeah, I mean, it's just another scrimmage. When you get to that point, when you're that old, they just stop caring as much.
That's interesting. I mean, the fans really never get tired of it,
Yeah.
really. But, I guess from a player's perspective, it might be a little bit different. So let's talk then about this team compared to last year's team. Last year, losing Kelly Oubre and Cliff Alexander, but then gaining, as you said, LeGerald Vick and Carlton Bragg, and then also Sheck Diallo. How does this team compare to last year's team at this time?
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see if Sheck Diallo is going to be eligible to play or not. Right now, eligible to practice. Will be playing at late night, so that's big. If he is clear to play, I mean, this team is going to be one of the best teams in the country. But even if he doesn't play, I still think this team is very good. I mean, you got another year older Frank Mason and Perry Ellis, who I think are two of the top 15 players in college basketball. And anytime you have that, I think you're good enough to play in college basketball to make a deep run in March. This team is a lot better, despite losing Kelly Oubre and Cliff Alexander. The freshmen are going to be nice pieces. Self talked about it the other day. I mean, there's 12 guys that you can play any game, and he may not be able to play 10. He may only go 8 or 9 deep. So suddenly you start looking at the end of the bench, and who are the guys that are going to be left out? Hunter Mickelson, Landon Lucas, guys like that maybe who don't get to see a lot of playing time because of how good this team is.
Wow. All right. One last question for you. Individually, who's been the most improved player from last season?
I think it's Wayne Selden. I mean, you watched him in the World University Games, and Self talked about it a little bit at Media Day. The thing that made him get good, it wasn't the fact that he was just shooting better. He was attacking the rim a lot more. He was using his athleticism, and it's going to be big. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, Frank Mason and Perry Ellis, your two top 15 players right there. It's going to go down to them, but if you can just get an above-average performance out of Wayne Selden or Svi, I think you're going to have a really, really good team. It's going to be tough to stop this team.
I had a feeling you were going to say that, actually, based on his performance in the World University Games is what I've heard. So
absolutely. I mean, Svi is going to be really good too. I mean, he's a big crucial key as well. I mean, he only averaged 6 minutes a game last year in conference play. If he's a bigger part, I mean, Self said he might challenge for a starting gig, if not be one of the best reserves in the country. So if he can be that and average more than 6 minutes a game in conference play, Svi's going to be a really good player too.
Well, you talk about how good of a recruit he was coming in. So it'd be nice to see him living up to that potential that he was at. Shane Jackson, men's basketball beat writer for the UDK. Check Hansen.com for exclusive and extensive coverage of men's basketball. As always from Shane, news is coming up next. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Allie Fullerton.
And I'm Chloe Cowart, and this is your Monday morning Good Morning KU news update. Hurricane Joaquin continued to cause havoc this weekend on the East Coast. More than 24 inches of rain fell in the Carolinas, causing unprecedented flooding. Authorities in South Carolina reported more than 750 rescue calls in a 12-hour period. Interstate 95 has been closed in several areas.
The Coast Guard is continuing to search for the freighter El Faro. The cargo ship was en route from Florida to Puerto Rico last week before being caught in the middle of a Hurricane Joaquin. The ship captain sent out a distress signal, and search crews have reported sighting life jackets and containers in the vicinity, but the ship and its 33 crew members are still missing.
As far as investigators are concerned, Google is now referred to as Alphabet. The name change of the publicly held company is a part of a reconstruction that allows investors to avoid opportunities that are often costly but not financially rewarding. The new company offers 2 classes of public shares, which allows Google founders to maintain overall control.
The United States Supreme Court begins a new term this morning. The court will hear cases on affirmative actions, public employee union, fees, class action lawsuits, and death penalty appeals. Many issues and cases return with additional questions and evidence that wasn't presented in years past.
Students, if you're planning to fly home for the holidays, now is your time to buy your tickets. According to USA Today, this week is the best time to buy tickets for airfare travel during Thanksgiving and Christmas.
The regular season is now over for Major League Baseball, with the playoffs set to begin tomorrow when the Houston Astros take on the Yankees in New York. The winner of the one-game wildcard playoff will take on the Royals in the best-of-5 series that begins Thursday in Kansas City.
And that will wrap it up for today's show. We won't be here next week because of fall break, but you can watch Good Morning KU every day this week at 10 a.m.
And don't forget to watch 785 Live tonight at 6 p.m. Thank you.